In this lesson, we're going to cover 45, 45, 90 triangle. 45, 45, and 90 represent the measures of the angles in the triangle. So we have 45 degrees, 45 degrees, and 90 degrees. A simple 45, 45, 90 would be to have the measure of the two legs equal 1, and then the measure of the hypotenuse equal radical 2. You could test this in Pythagorean theorem, and you'll see that these sides work. 1 squared plus 1 squared equals the square root of 2 squared. So given this triangle, we can make a similar triangle by multiplying any number to these sides. So we can multiply it by 2, so we'll get 2, 2, and 2 radical 2. Multiply it by 3, we get 3, 3, and 3 radical 2. Or simply for any proportion, just multiply it by x. So we get x, x, and x radical 2. So using this knowledge, we could find the measures of any similar triangle, any 45, 45, 90, if we know one of the sides. So for example, call this example 1. If we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, we know that the measure of this side is 5. We could find the measure of any of the other sides. So if we want to find the measure of this side, that matches up with x. Okay, so first we have to find out what x is. Take a look at this 5. This is across from the 45. And we see that across from the 45 is x. So we know 5 equals x. So with that knowledge, we could find any of the other sides. This side, which is across from the 45, is also x. So this side is also 5. The hypotenuse, this side, matches up with the hypotenuse over here. So this side is x radical 2. We know that x is 5, so this side is 5 radical 2. So by knowing one of the sides, we were able to find the other sides just by using this diagram. Let's look at another example. Call this example 2. So what happens if they give us the hypotenuse? They say the measure of this side is 8. Well, the hypotenuse, which is across from the 90, matches up with x radical 2. So we could set these equal and figure out what x is. So we have 8 equals x radical 2. Let's solve for x, so we'll divide by radical 2 on both sides. So we have that x equals 8 over radical 2. Alright, but we're not going to use this because we don't want to have a radical in the denominator. We have to rationalize the denominator, and we do that by simply multiplying the numerator and denominator by this radical. So we multiply it by radical 2 over 2. So 8 times radical 2 will just be 8 radical 2. Radical 2 times radical 2 is radical 4. And the square root of 4 is 2. So we have 8 radical 2 over 2. We can simplify this more because 2 goes into both of them. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we simply have 4 radical 2 over 1, or 4 radical 2. So we have x equals 4 radical 2. So we're going to use this information to find the other sides. So if we want to find this side, opposite the 45, just take a look at our diagram, opposite the 45 is x. So this is x, and x is 4 radical 2. So this side's 4 radical 2. Opposite the other side is also x, which is 4 radical 2. And that makes sense because this is a 45, 45, 90, so it's isosceles, so these two sides have to be the same. So if we have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, and we're given one of the sides, just match it up with the corresponding side in our diagram, determine what x is, and then we could find the other sides.